Hi folks, I want to talk to you today about the concept of RAG when it comes to AI. This is a term you've probably seen or heard. RAG stands for, I'll just tell you this one time, Retrieval-Augmented Generation. The keyword in there being augmented. And so I'm going to explain this to you as I would to my 15-year-old. And I'm going to begin by not trying to describe it to you in words. I just want to show it to you and show you exactly what it is. So I'm at Duck AI, and I'm going to ask this AI to help me with a problem. Ask it to help me with a problem with my budget. And I'll give it just a little bit of info here. Now, AI is very helpful. It always wants to help me, help you. So it will give us an answer. Now, where do you think it's getting its information? Now, all we told it was we had a $2,000 check. So AI is leaning upon its generic knowledge that it has been trained on regarding budgets and typical breakdown and typical expenses. So it's giving me an answer, but how relevant really is this answer for me? Not very much, because AI doesn't know anything about my life, my bills, anything. So this isn't useful. So what I'm going to have to do to make it more useful is actually give AI a little more detail about my situation so it can help me. And guess what I'm doing when I do that? I'm augmenting my prompt, the information I'm given to AI. So let's do that and see what happens. I have a $500 car payment. The electric is due $100. And I'm trying to set aside 10% at least for some savings. So now we've given it more information, right? We've augmented our prompt with more detail that's going to allow AI to give us a better and more relevant answer. That is RAG performed in a manual way. When you hear people talk about RAG in terms of AI, they're not so much talking about, hey, make your prompts better. They're talking about doing this in an automated fashion, using code, using knowledge bases, but it's accomplishing the exact same thing. This is RAG. So now we have a much more relevant answer coming out of AI for us. And as I often tell everybody, especially everybody who complains about AI isn't useful, it told me the wrong thing. Well, it's garbage in, garbage out, right? If you give it generic information and you cause it to have to assume things, it will, based on what it already knows, and it will give you information that isn't so relevant. But in this case, by augmenting our prompt, it was able to help us immensely. I'm a big fan of pictures. Now, what we just previously did was illustrate what RAG is manually, but I wanted to show you a few pictures here just to kind of illustrate the concept. So we ask AI questions, and if we don't provide information, it's going to draw upon the knowledge it already has and do its best to help us. But as we saw, that isn't always what we need. Sometimes we need generic information, but sometimes we need specific information too. When we augment our prompt and we provide additional information, as this fellow is actually providing his detailed budget to AI, AI can and will give us a much more relevant and much better response. So let's look at it more from the technical aspect now. Using illustrations again because it's just easier to understand. But in this situation, we're actually doing it in a business setting. So the individual on the right is using their company's internal AI to query and ask a question about their financials. So this is an automated instance of RAG. You'll notice on the left we have our little RAG buddy there, a little robot representing some code. So the initial prompt is generated by the individual. It is given to the RAG buddy, who's going to search the company's financial data to find any relevant information as it pertains to the specific question being asked. He's not going to give everything to the AI because basically the AI would choke on that much information. So the RAG Buddy's job is to figure out, okay, of all the information I have access to, what can I add to this individual's question that is most relevant and will help the AI give the best answer. So the RAG Buddy does his best, based on how he's programmed and what he has access to. He finds some information, he packages it up, he adds it to the prompt. You see the little spreadsheets and graph added to the miniature version of the prompt. That whole package is then given to the AI. It uses the additional information that came with the question to give its best answer, and then it responds with something that's actually truly relevant. In this case, the guy's pretty fortunate. They're going to have a 20% organic growth that quarter. Yay for them. But that is RAG. And thank you for taking time to listen to me, and I hope it made sense to you. And I will have probably more detailed videos coming in the future to dive more into our little RAG Buddy, to look at the source that he's using to find relevant information, how that source is created, how you transform your raw information into something that your RAG Buddy can actually search and query, and then how the prompt itself is augmented. We'll dive more into that in the future, but this is a good overview. It explains what it is, so hopefully it helped.